Okay, the theme for today, the question for today, and the subject we'll be looking at is if I'm in a relationship, what does that mean? What does a relationship look like? What is it all about? You do hear that word a lot, a relationship, and there are all kinds of different ways that people might describe the relationship they're in. Some of them kind of make me chuckle a little bit. You know, I hear people say, oh, we're just friends, or you hear people say, you know, we're acquaintances, they might say, or you might hear people say very specifically, this is my girlfriend, or this is my boyfriend, okay? And so what does it mean? What is a relationship? A relationship between a guy and a girl is a very serious thing. It's a very significant thing. The devil, of course, is always fighting to get things that are very significant to appear as very insignificant and try to minimize it, try to make it look like just kind of a playful toy, you know, that doesn't really matter too much one way or the other. But it is a very serious thing because, you know, you look at our world today, there are millions of abortions that are taking place each year. Right in this country, the United States, and all over the world, really. If you're watching from another country, I'm sure that applies to just about every country of the world. Abortions are taking place. Why are there abortions? Why do people want to kill a baby inside the womb before it's born? Why do they want to do that? So many times it is a result of immorality, that immoral relationship. The Bible also calls it fornication, or adultery, and that physical relationship. So we kind of have to back up and zoom out a little bit and say, you know, so I'm in this relationship. What are the boundaries? What matters to God? What boundaries should I have in a relationship? So a relationship between a guy and a girl is a very serious thing because it often leads to very strong emotional attachment. You know, I find it very interesting anytime a man or a woman are together in a, you know, especially if it's just the two of them, you know, maybe in a work setting or whatever it may be, even if one of them or both of them are married to someone else, they can find themselves having very strong attraction for one another. And I have seen that happen where, you know, a married man or woman will engage in emotional attachment with somebody else at the workplace, or maybe someone they meet at school, or whatever it may be, all kinds of different situations, a neighbor, and the marriage ends up breaking up and they go for each other. How long do you think that relationship is going to last? Is that really a God-honoring relationship, you know, when those things happen? Definitely not. But boy, it happens a lot. So a relationship between a boy and a guy and a girl is a very serious thing because it can lead to a very strong emotional attachment, and our emotional attachment can often lead to physical contact. That often leads to pregnancy outside of marriage and many other things that really end up bringing a lot of regrets and very serious consequences. So the devil likes to make it appear like a little toy, and it's not really. It's actually a very serious thing. It's a very wonderful thing that God created. But again, we've got to understand who God is, what his boundaries are, and how to be able to operate inside those boundaries. As mentioned in a previous video session, it really is best to just kind of keep yourself in group relationships until it's obvious, you know, that you know that God has brought you to a point where you are ready to get married. And then you can begin to, you know, pray, Lord, lead me, or you can pray all along before that, but you can begin to, you know, seriously seek out who the one might be that God would have for you to marry. And it's so important to remember in a relationship that getting to know someone of the opposite gender should be working toward marriage, and marriage is for life. It's not until, oh, I don't think this is going to work anymore. And boom, there goes the end of the marriage. So some important things to think about as we continue in this session.